Hello, welcome to Roy's Book Reviews. I am Roy, and this is the first one of my BookTube channel videos that I am recording during the period of time known as the coronavirus pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, whatever you want to call it. So I hope that this video finds you doing well, everybody in your household and your circle of closest loved ones safe and sound as we social distance from each other in order to keep each other healthy. I have been working from home during this time. I was working from home most of the time, even before this struck, so it hasn't been a great transition for me in that regard. My daughter, on the other hand, has been doing all of her schooling via Zoom from home, and that is certainly a bit of a challenge. And of course, she misses seeing her classmates. I also miss seeing friends and family. But I've been doing my best to hold up. I'm sure you have as well. But the beat must go on, and my YouTube channel here must go on as well. So let me turn off the music here. Among the things I've been doing during this time where I have a little extra free time on hand since I'm not commuting is recording videos of myself reading children's books for parents who did not work from home previously, so now they're juggling doing their job from a space in the household reserved for getting things done for their employer, but they also have kids who are not in school or in daycare as they used to be, and they are therefore underfoot and wanting to be entertained. So I recorded some children's book videos. I will continue to record them from the large collection of kid books that I have on hand in my household that were read to my daughter as bedtime reading. But today I am going to discuss going back to reviews of novels and other books for adults. 12 Years a Slave by Solomon Northup. Most of you have probably heard of this book due to the Hollywood adaptation. It was made into an excellent award-winning film. I believe this is the movie that brought the lovely Lupita to the attention of a lot of American filmgoers. Not playing a particularly glamorous role in this story due to the nature of it, of course, but nevertheless, she did give a great performance, as did everyone else. It deserved all the accolades it received. I'm here to discuss not the movie, but the book, which I read first because I wanted to read it before I saw it. That is always my preference, and I was able to do that in this case. So I wrote on Goodreads in my review there for this book, the excellent film adaptation of this novel, which I watched after keeping a promise to myself to read the book first, was more melodramatic and pulled on heartstrings to greater effect and purpose than Solomon Northup's telling of his life story, which was written without consideration of Hollywood retellings in mind. He writes in somewhat stilted prose, his style academic rather than evocative. Unlike a modern movie director, in a world that Solomon never would have imagined, Solomon is not trying, with the telling of his life story, or a portion of it anyway, to draw out our tears. He is not attempting with every stroke of the pen to stir up emotions. Solomon Northup is simply telling us like it was, straight, no chaser. No need to exaggerate the brutality or the tragedy. No reason to willfully demonize people whose monstrous acts and barbaric attitudes speak for themselves. Is the reader outraged, astounded that people could casually treat others in such a manner? Only if the reader has a soul. Solomon Northup doesn't place his words on page to move us the way his violin playing moved the people who heard it. He is both impartial reporter and the subject of this piece of journalism that required no investigation because it happened to Solomon directly. Years later, in present times, we may need to remind ourselves that no matter how dramatic the cruelty of stealing people away from their homes and loved ones for profit may be, this is a work of nonfiction, not make believe. Solomon doesn't ask us to feel sorry for him or to hate his oppressors. What he does in 12 Years a Slave is recount what it was like for a man to suddenly find himself in bondage and servitude, endured for over a decade, and then somewhat miraculously finds himself free again with a most amazing and devastating tale to tell. He reveals the truth to us in as unbiased a manner as possible and allows us to judge it for ourselves. How did any man ever convince himself that it was okay to treat another this way? How did people ignore the humanity they surely saw in the brethren that they stole from another continent? How was a single one of them able to look in a mirror? 12 Years a Slave asks these questions, but is unable to answer them, nor does it bother to try. Nothing can adequately answer them. The mystery of such heartlessness has not revealed itself over a couple hundred years. This is what our country was founded on: inalienable rights, unevenly dispersed with extreme prejudice. This is what America needs to atone for and move forward from. This is the stain that will never fade. Yet, quite tellingly, those 12 years are not what made Solomon the extraordinary man that he was. Those 12 years happened to him, but did not become him. Otherwise, he probably would not have been able to write his book. The past brought us to this present, but it need not define any of us. In even the most suffocating of circumstances, we have the freedom to do that for ourselves. I have read quite a few novels, a couple of them that I have discussed in prior videos here, that are about the atrocities of slavery. Reading this book, which is, not a novel, it's not fiction, a man's true account, is definitely a powerful, impactful experience. And what it lacked for in, the narrative that an author of fiction would have, bent it to, make us truly care for the character and truly despise the people that were keeping others in bondage. Since this is what Solomon Northup's reality was, it's written in a way, not to try to convince us of anything, not to explain anything to us, but it's just him telling us who he was and what he went through. And it's all on us to feel about that however it is that we feel. This is an incredible work of writing. I'm glad that it managed to see it to the light of day and be published. I'm glad that it was made into A wonderful movie. I highly recommend both reading and seeing it. And that's about all that I have to say, except that once again, I hope that you stay safe, wash those hands as frequently as you can, as we've been cautioned. I hope uh, that you are doing well. I hope that you are reading voraciously with the extra time you may have on hand. And I would love to hear what you thought about this book or any of the other books that I have recorded my opinions on. Until the next time, happy reading.